Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to another Eternal News episode. So I have been away for a while on a festival, hanging out with friends and having fun, but now I'm finally back. I only managed to do the sealed update right when I came back because I was busy with work and stuff, but now it's time to fully dive back in since while I've been away, the Set 4 spoiler season already started. But it's no big deal. Most of the spoilers while I was away were pretty trivial, but I think last night we got two pretty big and interesting spoilers, so it's finally time to review all the spoilers so far and share my thoughts and opinion on them with you guys. So let's get started. Alright, so first we have -Canary. Nothing special here. It's just an 04 flying 2-power unit, no relevant unit type, mostly just like a decent card in a draft deck that is very defensive because it blocks most flyers and a bunch of early ground guys. In Constructed, it's unlikely to even make it in the sideboard as a blocker, usually, so not very relevant there. Let's check the next card. The next one is a big one. Crest of Order, that means we finally get the 4 remaining crests, as everybody was hoping and expecting really. But now we have the confirmation and we also have the first artwork. And it looks pretty cool. And looking forward to see the other 3. And these 4 crests are particularly relevant because I think all 4 of them basically are in color combinations that are mostly mid-range to control decks that really appreciate the crests. It's the Horu crest, the Rakano crest, the Combray crest, and the Xenon crest. So the Rakano crest is sort of the least relevant of the 4, but it's still relevant in the sense that it's relevant for Ikaria decks like Ikaria Black and Blue, and very much so there actually because green-red duels are the most relevant there to help fix your Ikaria influences both at the same time. So it's even pretty relevant there. But yeah, especially the Combray and Horu crest are super big because there's a bunch of mid-range and control decks excited for those. So looking forward to finally have all 10 crests. That's going to be great. Alright, on to the next card. Next we have a token, as we can see by the rarity down here if you didn't notice. And yeah, it's a token, 01 sheep. We don't know what creates it. Could be from a transformation card, like a spell or a curse, for example, or could be a unit that, or even like a relic weapon that creates this token when it's summoned or when it dies, like on Entomb, stuff like that, or even on like a unit that does it on activation or whatever. There's a bunch of options where this could come from, but we know one thing, it's not going to be a big deal because it's an 01 sheep, so it's not a very impactful token. But looking forward to see where this is going to be from. But my guess would be that it's probably from a spell, because the 01 harmless animal type thing is often just like a crippling transformation type deal. I mean, there's similar cards in Magic that turn something into 01 sheep. Although, also, I'm a bit surprised that it says sheep, but it looks more like a goat or an animal from the sheep family with horns, because if I'm not mistaken, sheep don't usually have that big horns, but not an expert, so scratch that. Alright, anyway, on to the next card. Next we have Lidow's Apprentice. That's a card that we didn't get the art for yet, but it's a pretty cool one. First of all, relevant unit type, Unseen. Second of all, 2/3 for 2. Pretty solid base stats, usually for a 2-drop, at least for a non-aggressive 2-drop, and this is not meant for the most aggressive decks, I would assume. And it has a pretty cool utility. It can never be silenced itself, and while it is around, other units you control can't be silenced either. The most interesting part here will be if silence effects can still target your units or not, because that could be relevant for, say, an Enforcer still being capable of popping the Aegis on one of your units, but not being able to silence them. but the Aegis gets popped anyway because the Aegis doesn't care whether or not the silence would have an effect on resolution or not. But my guess would be that you can probably not even target units anymore with a silence while this is out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a nice way to protect yourself from one of the more relevant interactive options in the game that you so far couldn't really interact with. Like if it was a spell, you could negate it with counter spells, but there aren't a lot of those, especially main deckables. And in other cases, there's not really anything you could do against silence, and now you have counterplay against silence, which is really cool, I think. So yeah, pretty excited about this one. And Unseen is a relevant tribe and has a bunch of good silence targets that appreciate this protection. But it will be obviously relevant for a whole lot of decks. Next we have a Fringe uncommon, Harmless Question. It's a 0-cost, non-fast spell, stuns an enemy unit. In draft and constructed, it's both pretty Fringe, since you need to be very aggressive and get a lot out of the tempo boost from stunning something for a turn cycle for 0 to make up for losing an entire card on it. But maybe if we have like some hyper-aggressive justice-based deck, this could be interesting. But other than that, I don't really see this in constructed or even limited, most likely. Next we have something similar. This time it costs 1 and exhausts 2 enemy units instead of stunning 1. But it's in fire, definitely a color that lends itself more to hyper-aggressive decks, but roughly the same applies as with Harmless Question, except the fact that Harmless Question costs 0 and shuts down the most threatening unit for 2 turns might be a bigger deal in the end than shutting down 2 for 1 turn for 1 power. So I'm not sure how likely this is to make it. Like Harmless Question already isn't, and this is probably a bit less likely, but it might be a bit better in limited in a wider range of aggressive decks than Harmless Question, because it's more swingy there to finish off the opponent and break through them trying to stabilize. Okay, now on to the first of the 2 cards from last night, and it's a pretty cool one, and a lot of people have hoped for something like it, and or yeah, might have expected something like that down the line. Clan Standard. So that's another depleted monocolor, monofaction transmute power card. It says transmute 5, Clan Tactic. So far I couldn't find an image for Clan Tactic or an explanation what Clan Tactic does, so not sure. But I think one thing that I'm very certain about is, judging by the name and also by expectation, is that Clan Tactic is going to be a spell, either fast or regular. And that's something that people have been talking about for the longest time. That would be cool to get like another cycle of these transmute powers and get one that turns into like decent spells. And it looks like it's time for that. So I expect this to be a cycle, 1 in each faction in this set, and each turns into a faction flavorful spell or fast spell that has like a decent helpful effect at on the same level as the monument units. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty flavorful, like monument for the units and standard for like spells, effects. That's pretty cool. And it gives you more blood protection and more diversity and options in building your power bases for various decks. Looking forward to see what Clan Tactic does and also what the other 4 do. And on to the last card from last night. I think that's actually a really huge one, and it's a legendary. So without further ado, answer the call. Sorry for the low resolution, couldn't find a higher res image of it and wanted to keep it the same size as the others. It's a 6-cost double justice spell. You play a unit from the top 6 cards of your deck, and then you play all weapons from among the remaining 5 cards on it, and discard all other cards. So clearly you want to put this in a deck with a lot of good units and potentially good weapons, and then you get a lot of value out of this. Like imagine you hit like a 5-drop and 2 weapons, then you suddenly get like 3 cards for 6 power, and you get like a 5-drop in play and weapons that maybe, I don't know, are worth like 4, 5, 6 power combined. So you're getting like a whole bunch of extra power out of it, free power, or even hit like a big unit depending on what deck you build. There's like a whole lot of ways you can go with this and cheat stuff into play. This has a world of possibilities to it. You could go for like playing super big units and cheat them into play. You could pair this with Divining Rod and a lot of units that work with Rod and just play those 2 cards as enablers and go nuts with that way. Or you could just go for like a, say, I don't know, Rakano weapon, good stuff, mid-range deck topping off at like Icaria and playing Answer the Call and then cheat Icarias into play with like, I don't know, Hammers of Might and Shogun Scepters on it and stuff like that, and Katanas. There's a ton of things you can do. This card is amazing and super interesting, and there is a ton to try and figure out with this. I'm really excited for this. This is a really cool spoiler, really early in the spoiler season. A lot of the time lately, we got like a lot of boring, irrelevant stuff in the beginning, and the cool stuff way too late. And I really like that they show us this promising, this cool stuff this early. Let me know what you think in the comments. What's your take on this card? What ideas do you have that I didn't cover already? This card is one of the coolest cards I've seen in a long time in Eternal, actually, because it opens up a whole new world of ways to build decks and play decks in Constructed, and it's also much less niche and much more powerful than Divining Rod, because Divining Rod has a lot more restrictions to it than this card, I think. Alright, that's it already for this Eternal News episode. That's the spoilers we have so far for set 4. So far, set 4 is looking interesting and cool. Bunch of nice things already, and we haven't seen like much of it, so excited for the rest of the spoiler season and the upcoming new set. And as usual, let me know in the comments what you think. How do you like the cards? What's your take on them? If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, of course, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications for future content. And yeah, that's it for this Eternal News episode with the first set 4 spoilers. I am Manu S. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye!